Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever South Florida Summit for Israel. Christians and Jews standing united for Israel. I'm Eric Stillman, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Broward County. I'm honored to open this evening's program with Pastor Mario Bramnick, President of the Broward Pastors Network. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It is now my honor to call upon and introduce another friend, the Honorable Ted Deutch.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Ted Deutch. I represent the 19th Congressional District in the United States Congress. And let me tell you, I wish that the rest of our colleagues could be in this room tonight. There is an energy here, there is a passion here that unites us, that is something that everyone should have the opportunity to experience. Deputy Foreign Minister Ayalon, Consul General Shacham, leaders and friends from the Jewish community, leaders and friends from the Christian community, Democrats, Republicans, independents. Our backgrounds may differ. Our political parties may differ. But what we share is greater than any of those differences. And what we share is a steadfast commitment to defend the unbreakable bond between the United States of America and our great ally and friend, the democratic Jewish state of Israel. Israel's very existence is under attack in the international arena, and we cannot be silent. We stand here tonight at a pivotal moment in history. In just weeks, the Palestinians plan to slam shut the door on negotiations by turning to the United Nations to mount their single greatest effort to delegitimize Israel in the international arena. For the past year, Israel has sat at the negotiating table, waiting for a partner for peace, waiting for someone to take a seat beside her. Israel has demanded no preconditions. Israel has made historic concessions. But instead of coming to the table, the Palestinian Authority chose a different partner, Hamas, an organization whose mission is a relentless campaign of violence, incitement, and hatred aimed at wiping Israel off of the map. Peace is not Hamas's platform. They deny Israel's right to exist. They rain rockets down on Israeli citizens. And they continue to hold hostage Gilad Shalit even as he celebrates his 25th birthday this very day. Instead of demanding a vote by the United Nations, Mr. Abbas should demand instead that his new partners immediately release Gilad Shalit and allow him to return home to Israel. The Palestinians could change course. They could commit themselves to peace. They could denounce the recent attacks on innocent Israelis and quit their alliance with Hamas. They could abandon any plan for unilateral action at the United Nations, and they could sit down at the negotiating table with the Jewish state of Israel. Such a change in course does not seem likely. Indeed, the PA is turning to the most popular platform for singling out and delegitimizing our friend and ally, the United Nations. From the vile Zionism is racism resolution of the 1970s to the biased and misleading Goldstone report, the United States has time and time again stood up for fairness, for democracy, and human rights at the UN by standing against such bogus and malicious attacks against the state of Israel. We used our power at the United Nations, at the Security Council, to veto inflammatory anti-Israel resolutions just this past spring. And tonight we gather here with a unified voice. We send a message, all of us here, Christian and Jew. We send a message to the world from South Florida. If you are committed to human rights, stop delegitimizing Israel. If you believe in democracy, stop delegitimizing Israel. Israel is the model that other nations should look to, a nation committed to individual rights and freedoms, despite the threats from the nations that encircle her. Tonight we gather, as we've seen just in recent days, Iran's Ahmadinejad vow yet again to wipe Israel off the map. We've seen terrorists enter Israel from Gaza through Sinai to murder Israelis. We've seen terrorists launch rockets from Gaza meant to kill Israelis. Yet Israel's commitment to democracy and human rights did not wane for an instant, and our commitment to Israel is stronger than it's ever been. Tonight we gather in steadfast support of Israel, but tomorrow our work will not be over. You are the backbone of the U.S.-Israel relationship. When you leave here, every one of you, speak out in your communities. Remind all those who seek to delegitimize Israel that Israel will never stand alone. Remind them that the values shared by the United States and Israel span religions and political parties. These are the values that helped bring people from all walks of life together here this evening. These are the values that cast partisanship aside in favor of partnership. As a lifelong pro-Israel activist, as a member of this wonderful community, I will take your voices to Washington, and I will go to our allies across the globe and urge them to join us in our efforts to stand up for Israel. We stand together in opposition to Hamas's campaign of hatred and terror. We stand together for freedom, democracy, and human rights, and we stand together as a community shoulder to shoulder with the people of Israel in their quest for lasting peace and security. I thank you for giving me the honor of joining you here for just a few minutes this evening, and I thank you for giving me the energy and sharing your passion with me that I can't wait to take back to Washington. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Congressman Deutch. When he spoke, I just felt something when he said, this evening, out of South Florida, there is a voice that is arising throughout America to Washington and to the world. The nation of Israel lives and is being supported by this people. There's something happening right now out of South Florida. Don't think that you're just coming to a meeting. Media has been here. There's been press conferences. There's mobilization. But I believe that there's a shift that is happening right now out of South Florida. We are very honored tonight to have Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart here. He has served the United States House of Representatives since 2011 from the Republican Party. Let us welcome Mario Diaz-Balart.
Thank you.
You know, my colleagues already very eloquently spoke about the reality. And so I'm not going to repeat some of the things that they already said because they do so with much greater eloquence than I could ever do. So let me take my few minutes to do something different. Very simply, to thank you. To thank you. To thank the Broward Pastors Network, to thank the Jewish Federation of Broward County, but to thank each and every one of you, because you've heard it tonight, that there's something happening here, but something has to happen here. Because we've also heard tonight that there's reason to be concerned, and there's grave reason to be concerned. Because we hear it not in the nutcases throughout Europe, we see it in the institutions, the anti-Semitism. It is hip now to criticize Israel. Not crazies, no, institutions, whether it's the universities or in government circles and in the media from around the world. And there's great and grave reason to be concerned, which is why, more than ever, if there has ever been a need to stand up, to not accept things sliding by us, to not accept lies being told with impunity. If there's ever been a time to stand up, it's now. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for believing. Thank you for understanding that the Jewish state ain't negotiable. I know that you believe what we stand for. These members of Congress, we will be there with Israel. No matter what Israel has to do to defend herself, no matter what position Israel has to take to defend herself, and sometimes those positions are not pretty and not popular, but the United States and the world needs to know this. We'll stand with Israel day in, day out, come hell or high water. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your solidarity. With you, Israel will continue to be that shining beacon of freedom, a Jewish state in the Middle East. Thank you. God bless you all.
This concludes our special show for today from On Location in South Florida. I'm Richard Peritz. Thank you for being with us.